Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to show you how I got these shelves to stay on that wall. These shelves were made by somebody else on Etsy. My old lady bought them and I'm going to show you guys how I did it. Hello and welcome to another MTR Fab video. This is MTR and today the lady has spoken. So your video is going to be mounting these shelves. I have these corner shelves that the lady of the house has asked we mount a pair of them up here. So I have them sitting on the chair rail just for reference, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to mount these frames down here against the wall. We're going to lay out some lines. These are the tools required to do the job. We've got some sheetrock anchors. They recommend a butterfly style anchor. I actually prefer these. These are incredible, and we'll show you those when we're installing them and why I like them. You're going to need a screw gun, preferably a screwdriver, just in case you got to do some handwork. You need an 1/8 inch drill bit, drill some holes. And then obviously a tape measure or a measuring device and a level to keep it all straight. So first thing I'm going to do is lay out the space. I've got this run and it's already been divided into 3 pieces, right, by this painting. This painting is centered in the height. So what I'm going to do is try to center my shelves, and I'm going to lay out some lines. I'm going to drill the holes wherever I want. Because I know my house is a little bit funky, you're not going to find studs 16 inches on center in this house. So there's no way that this is going to hit a stud except maybe in the dead corner. So I'm going to have 2 anchors, one on each side, and then hopefully I'm going to shoot a 3.5 inch screw straight into the corner and we'll get some wood. But the reality is these are light duty shelves. You're not supposed to put a ton of weight on them anyway. So let's get started. The bottom of the painting is approximately 15 3/8 of an inch. So that's where I'm going to shoot for my marks over here in the corner. So what I'm doing first is drilling holes in the brackets wherever I want them. And so I'm putting them out pretty much as far out as to the edge as I can. I've centered them. You notice the hole isn't centered because this doesn't center either. So this is meant to be loose, and this is 3 inches wide. So actually what I've done is from the top edge I've gone down 1.5 inches, and I'm gonna land that on the marks I lay on the walls on one side. We're gonna set an anchor, and then I'm going to mount this screw, and then I will adjust the other side accordingly to get it level. So I've marked the location on the wall, and now I'm actually going to do a little poke inspection. I don't expect to find a stud there. It's only 13 inches in from the corner, and I'm going to just poke this through. And like I predicted, just insulation, right? Now, I'm going to push one of these sheetrock anchors in there. This is one of the examples of why I like a ratcheting screwdriver. So if you want to see about this screwdriver in another video, but I'm basically pushing on that thing. I'm letting the insert do the job. It's got a cutting tip on it. Now that it's against the wall, just firm pressure. I'm using that ratcheting feature of the screwdriver, so I don't have to ever let go of the screwdriver, and that insert just walks its way in, and ta-da! That is a perfectly set insert, and they claim that'll take up to, I believe, 75 pounds of support. And I don't know if that's counting as a pair, but either way, I'm not expecting her to put 75 pounds of weight on this shelf. So the next step is going to be sending this screw into that insert. and that'll allow me to move this around. At this point, one of the concerns that pops up is if you can see that rocking, and that's actually lesser than it would be because I've got the screws poking out the back. Now, this corner is not perfectly square, and I don't assume that these are perfectly square. So I'm probably just going to go and cut the very corner of this out, and that's going to allow it to sit into the crotch of the wall a little bit better, and then maybe I'll be able to draw it in easier. A couple things: instead of cutting that corner, I actually went down and got a belt sander and I rounded the corner on this bracket, and now you can see there's still an air gap here, but I'm expecting that to draw in. So now what I'm going to do is put a level across this, and wherever it lands, I'm going to poke this screw into the wall, and I'm going to take it back down, and that's where I'm going to put my next insert. Sorry about the shadows, but you see we're going to get this bubble level. Now that it's level, I'm going to poke this screw in to the wall because I had it sticking out a little bit. Now wherever that hole is, after I dismount this, I'm going to put another sheetrock insert right there. Forgive me for the shadows. We're going to put another insert right there. Now, this should be close enough. Just firmly push in while ratcheting my screwdriver. Alright, bang. Now I can slowly send this. Notice how I didn't inspect this one with a drill, because, again, I know my house pretty good, and I know that there's no studs anywhere. So, anyway, there's the other insert. Now I know I told you an 1/8 inch drill bit on these holes, but what I found is that's too small for the screws that they supplied, and their directions said 1/8 inch hole. If I'm threading through this, I don't want this to push on the insert in the wall while it's threading the piece of wood. So this really needs to be a big enough hole for this to move around. The other thing that I want to talk about is if the shelf is out of level, you're going to need some way to move it around. So you're going to want, you know, the properly clearanced hole. And I can't even tell you which drill bit because I just went out and got a couple and kept drilling until I had a nice fit. So I'm going to take this screw out up here, pre-drill that with a larger drill bit than the original 1/8, and then I'm going to put this bracket up on the wall and see how the shelf actually sits on it. Okay, now both screws are in there, and I haven't checked. I'm going to take one of these shelves, slide this out of the way, and we're going to try, that's the top. So let's talk about, I did not make these shelves. Now, they were purchased. There we go. Sorry about the shadow line here, but you see what I was shooting for. And I'm going to do the same thing up here. Try to keep them far enough away that they don't get shadows from each other. She's just probably going to put quartz, you know, or minerals and crystals up here. So they, you know, weighty items, but there's only so many of them, and they'll be small. So as you can see, the shelf has the same issue as the bracket. So I'm going to do some custom trimming. But beyond that, let's check the level. So this is with yeah, it's pretty good, honestly. And I think I can run that. So now what I'm going to try to do is shoot a screw dead center in that crotch. And I'm going to try to poke it right in. So I actually may pre-drill this at a 45 to this corner. And I'm hoping I'm going to get a stud with a 3.5 inch screw. I should have videoed that. That was actually worked out pretty well. I drilled it, and then I sent the screw, and I did get it to bite, and now I have every confidence in the world that that thing's not going anywhere. Alright, so let's put the bottom shelf on here. Let's see. So I'm going to worry about the fitment after, but what I want to do is get the second one up there so we can see the results, and then I'll trim and fit. Alright, so we do it a second time now. I'm going to measure from the chair rail up to the corner of this painting, and I'm going to carry that line out, and I'm going to mark it carefully with a pencil, and then I'm going to poke a sheetrock anchor. Got my screws in, but I realized I still haven't sanded that corner, so I'll actually show you this time after. I'm going to use that belt sander. Alright, now you know what I'm talking about. Just took the corner off of it so it sits in the crutch a little bit better. Alright, so there's the lower, there's the upper. We got this one kind of settled out where it needs to be. I'm going to see if I can stick this screw through. So right about there looks good. I'm going to press that in. Take it back down, put an insert where that is. This one's very handed, I may be able to try it. Something we should talk about is you really should consider when you're doing stuff like this, not touching the wall. I know it's hard, but I'm leaning against it right now and it's probably not a great idea. Stuff comes off your clothes, off your hands. You may notice when you step back that you can see you've been there. But I'm hoping it'll be just fine. But it is something to consider, you know, putting your greasy handprints all over your... Okay, second one's up there. Just need to put the level back up. We're still looking pretty good. I'm going to put the shelf on it. Make sure that still looks good on top. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shoot another screw right in here. So now they're both up there. That's the effect we were going for. I still do have some fitment that I'd like to do with it, but look pretty good. So like I said, the wall is not exactly square, and I think, you know, these are cut relatively square. So to get them to sit perfectly into the corner would take some sanding, and or, you know, I could probably do it with this belt sander, but I don't think it's really necessary. She's just going to put stuff on it and it's just going to sit there. So I'm pretty happy with the fitment the way they are. Yeah. So I'm going to take this top one down. I'm going to take both of them down for now. We'll shoot that screw and then we'll call this project done. See? Got a really good bite. Alright folks, there it is. 2 shelves mounted. Now, I want to be clear that I did not make these shelves. And let's discuss that. Sometimes as a DIY enthusiast you may choose that somebody can do something and is set up better to do something quick enough that they can make it affordable enough that it's not worth your time. So I decided with the old lady that she should buy these and I should put them on the wall for her. So there they are. I did not make them, but you can see it takes a little bit of ingenuity to mount them to the wall. So with that said, this should be the same for any other type of floating shelves. I really do suggest those drywall anchors that you saw. These are the anchors. They're the Easy Anchor drywall anchors. You can use the butterfly ones if that's what you have. That's what, you know, the guy who makes these shelves on Etsy requested you use. I just chose not to. So I think the anchors I use are just fine, and with that one big heavy screw in the back corner is going to hold more than enough weight. So this project's done. Thanks guys. If this helped anybody, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week on another video. And thanks for watching.